Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to show you my current character slash progress slash explaining kind of video. I leveled this one up yesterday. It's a Pathfinder, currently level 85. It's a Vaal character. And yeah, Q-Tog is actually known for all those fancy Vaal builds like Vaal Blight, Vaal Fireball, Vaal Spark, Vaal, what is it, Stormcall, Vaal Spark, Vaal, just Vaal everything, you know. I'm actually known for Vaaling everything too, but just the other way of Vaaling everything, right? So this is my first take on a Vaal character. What is a Vaal character? A Vaal character basically just stacks up using Soulcatcher flasks, stacking up Vaal skills. And it's a character that's a speed mapper, basically, that can purely rely on Vaal casting all the time. Besides the first time when you just cast your normal spell, so you can actually get those Vaal skills in. So for a map showcase, before I'm explaining how everything is working, whatever, we're just gonna run, like, my gear is complete garbage. I know you see like 2 6-links and whatever, but this is just about the 40% reduced soul cost of Vaal skills, right? I used to play the Vaal Fireball as leveling, and yesterday in the evening I switched to Vaal Blight because it just feels better for some reason. So I have this staff. So basically for Vaal Blight, I have the reduced Vaal cost skills, cast speed, and 26% spell damage. Fire damage, mana, socketed fire gems, just complete useless. I'm not using a 6-link, that's why this is empty, so another sign that you don't need that, okay? I had this one yesterday for my Fireball character. I still need to sell that one. But yeah, more of that later on. So let's just take any quite nice map with a nice layout. Terrace could be something. Yeah, let's go Terrace, but I'm afraid of porcupines, but I think everybody is. The good thing is you can run every single map mod, so it's not a big deal if you're just gonna Vaal your map and whatever you do with it. So let's run this as a small showcase. And then we're gonna talk about how this is working, at least like what I learned in the last 2 days of that kind of Vaal build, and I will try to give a good expression on how this is working. So basically, first pack, you're gonna activate your flasks, you're gonna kill some of those mobs. We now have a Blight stack, or at least Vaal Blight. And this is what you do. You run, you press your Vaal Blight, and you profit. So I actually, in one hand I want to pick up stuff, in the other hand I just want to give you a good showcase on how fast this build can actually be. We are running Queen of the Forest with like 45,000 evasion. But yeah, you just run, Vaal Blight, keep your flasks up, Vaal Blight, run faster, even more. Here's some AoE or here's some AoE. Wait, chisel. And you're gonna keep on running, you know? And this works up till Guardians, because it's not a boss killer. So it's not like you're gonna do Shaper, Uber Elder or whatever with that one. You see we have currently 4 stacks of Vaal Blight available. And we can just spam this all the time, as long as you have your flasks up, because this is the mandatory thing, what I will talk about in a second. So let's clear off this one here. Get your flasks up again. But yeah, it's probably one of the fastest characters I've played, one of the most fun characters I've played, but it's a whole different level of gearing, that kind of character. Because you know that I play a lot of Chaos builds in general, like Essence Drain, Blight, then you have the Soul Rent, the Bane. I tried all of those, you know, I just love Chaos builds. But it's a little bit different. Okay, that's for the map showcase. Let's take a look how this is working. So there is actually, if you think like, hey, wait a second, that looks actually pretty cool. What do I need? Okay, the first thing you need, Soulcatcher Flask. Why? Because Vaal skills used during effect have 40% reduced soul gain prevention. So to make this as easy explained as possible, okay? So if we are using, let's take out our Vaal Blight and socket it into here for now. They have the same color, so I can show this one quite well. So you see the soul gain prevention is 7.2 seconds. 7.2 seconds. That means as soon as I use my Vaal Blight, I cannot gain souls for the next 7.2 seconds. So the goal is to reduce that duration amount. Soulcatcher, for example, does that. Vaal skills have reduced cost during the effect and 40% reduced soul gain prevention. So if we're just gonna press our flask, I don't know if you can see that, yeah, 7.2. We're now gonna press our flask and now it's 2.72. That means as long as we have our flask up, our soul gain prevention will be a lot less than before. So first thing, you probably wonder why Pathfinder. The only reason to go Pathfinder here is to stack up this flask effect duration. So these are not like a one-time wonder stat that you have, it's scale. So if you want to buy that item, you need to make sure that it's a 40% reduced soul gain prevention duration. The other things like damage and so on is not that mandatory. So I bought this one for 40 chaos, 50 chaos I think, somewhere at the 90 damage duration, at least like damage while duration. And yeah, the most important thing, as I said, is the soul, the Vaal skills used during effect have 40% reduced soul gain prevention. This is the first thing you need. So we can scale this one with flask effect duration, flask effect here, flask effect there. Then we have here flask charges gain, increased flask effect duration. So that will scale ours. So we are not actually at 40%. We are way higher than 40% because of our skill tree and ascendancy nodes and so on. So as a Pathfinder, you can pretty much get your flasks up for quite some time. You get way more flask stacks back. So you can, as soon as you enter a map and kill the first mobs, you permanently have your flasks up the whole time. And this is why the Soul Catcher, at least the Vaal skill characters, like to go Pathfinder in that case. So as I was saying, it's about the soul gain prevention. So how can we make this even lower? We have here 40% reduced cost of Vaal skills. That means that not even our soul gain prevention, and that case with the flask, will be lower. No, we only need not 30 souls to get one Vaal Blight off. We need way less, like 40% reduced over here and so on, and on the skill tree, blah blah blah. So that's the reason why I can actually stack up those Vaal Blights. So I don't even have one Vaal Blight at the moment. I can have up to 4 Vaal Blights in a row, which is quality of life, better said, because if you use your Vaal Blight and then you're not gonna hit some enemies, or at least like only a few, you still have like 3 stacks that you can rely on for the next pack. So that's pretty good. Once I actually have Uberlap, then we have more flask effect duration, or increased flask effect on us, so I can stack up Vaal Blight I think 5 times in total. Okay, back to the soul gain prevention. So how can we make that? Since this one has a duration, we can actually use stuff like less duration. So if you take a look over here again, we have 7.2 seconds. With a less duration support, it's now 3.26. With the flask up, it's 0.98. So as soon as I use my Vaal skill, there is only a second where I cannot gain souls. The bad thing is if your Vaal skills gives you back the soul, so you can permanently sustain it. And here we can have then, let's say, control destruction, increased area of effect, swift affliction, yeah, 50% reduced duration of supported skills and damaging ailments they inflict. So if we put this one over here, it's now 2.65. With the Soul Catcher flask, we are on 0.37. So you see that from the original 7.2 second soul gain prevention, we're going down to a total of 0.37. So the cast is not even finished the animation, and we are already able to get souls back. So that's the reason why we can permanently get that going, right? So on the other hand, we have increased area of effect, void manipulation. That's just for damage. Okay, I'm missing a green socket here. Whatever, and yeah, basically the rest is just for damage. So there is one big mandatory thing that you might wonder, hey, what about efficiency? What about the usual, let's say the usual stuff that you would run with chaos spells? So less duration makes the Vaal Blight, the soul gain prevention, lower, right? So everything that has increased skill effect duration will make the soul gain prevention higher. And this is something we want to avoid, because we want to have the soul gain prevention as low as possible. Do we have something like here? Efficiency. So if we're going to set efficiency to control destruction, so here we have 2.65. If we're going to socket this one in, 3.10. So that's actually a thing, because usually would say like, hey, wait a second, you can actually make some insane damage character. Yes, that's true, but you want to avoid those increased skill effect duration. That's why I'm also wearing the Time Twist. The Time Twist can have minus as like 10 reduced skill duration, effect duration, to plus 10 skill effect duration. So it can has increased or decreased. And on that point, we want to have the reduced skill effect duration, because this will also help our soul game prevention. So like 3.06, and with this one, it's 2.65. So in the tree, it's the same thing. Usually you would like to go entropy, cause chaos damage, chaos damage, chaos damage, and also skill effect duration. But hey, skill effect duration increased is bad cause it hires the soul game prevention. You get the idea how this is working, right? And that's a little bit different gearing. So at the moment, as I said, with flasks up, let me check that one again. I think we are at 0.36 or something. 0.37. That means my cast time is 0.36, so as soon as I'm done casting, I can already get souls back. The question is now, and this is something I want to find out, how much do we have to increase it? How long has the soul game prevention has to be at least to make it feel good? If I say, okay, wait a second, 1 second soul game prevention is enough to get Vaal Blight going 24/7, then I can spec into something like the entropy to get more damage here, right? Also like maybe efficiency and something like that, you know. But at the moment, I'm just trying to get less duration, so we gain our soul game prevention as low as possible. This is the thing how it actually makes it work. So let's check the other gear. Since I'm using haste and grace, I need a lot of, Queen of the Forest, okay? Queen of the Forest, usual thing, if you have 45,000 evasion rating, you get up to 75% increased movement speed. So what I want to reach is, with flasks up and everything, I want to reach more than 45,000 evasion rating to have an insane movement speed. So how to get this working? The Queen of the Forest has already a pretty big number of evasion rating. And same as the Grace. Grace gives you 2.5k on a 2020 additional evasion rating. So if we use something like a Jade Flask, that gives us another 3,000, and then something else with, what did I had it like? Witchfire Brew has 100% increased evasion rating. So if I would not use the Witchfire Brew in that scenario, we are on 30k. With the Witchfire Brew, we are at 46. So we have a lot of flat evasion, and we're gonna increase that amount by quite some. As well on the tree here, evasion rating live, here more evasion rating live, so and so on. So 45,000 is the one that you want to reach. I had a little bit of a trouble reaching that. That's why I'm wearing a series step at the moment, because it delivers a 700 flat evasion ratings and movement speed live. That's pretty fine, just no resistance. But as a budget version, this one works out pretty fine. I also have here a Lion's Pelt with like 700 evasion rating, and Slink Gloves with another 400 evasion rating. At some point, you're gonna check how can you get the most amount of evasion rating with the least investment, you know? Because I don't really want to run my caster with like 1, 2, 3, 4 evasion rating items, right? But we're gonna see how this is gonna work out. In terms of the skill gems, since you were wondering, wait a second, you're a chaos build, why don't you use like Malevolence and that kind of stuff? Well, if we're gonna check a look, wait a second, Malevolence, whatever it's called, PoE, we got this one up. Oh, not the discussion, I want to have the skill. So, Malevolence has an increased, more damage over time, which is an insane damage boost, but increased skill effect duration. Wait a second, we don't want to have skill effect duration. Okay, that's probably not the way to go. Same as the Zealotry. Zealotry would be another option, but this is more for crit build. So you would have more spell damage, which is a damage buff. Not as much as the Malevolence, but this one would also work. But you have here critical strike chance and to create consecrated ground on hitting a rare enemy. We never hit. We are just, it works like Righteous Fire, basically, you know? If you hit something like a fireball, for example, that thing is going to explode. It has an impact damage. Vaal Blight is basically just like a degenning effect, you know? It doesn't hit, so we cannot get like elemental hit, yeah. Like Despair on hit, for example, doesn't work either, because we're actually never hitting. Which is actually good, because, you know, Corrupted Blood is a thing. And for Corrupted Blood, to receive Corrupted Blood, you need to hit something. So we are basically immune to Corrupted Blood just because we never hit. So in that point. Okay, so that's in the end why I picked up Haste and Grace, because I wanted to reserve 100% mana. And yeah, this worked out pretty fine. I also used the Impresence Amulet, so I can reserve my Despair for free. So now you're probably gonna think like, wait a second, you have 0 mana, how can you still channel your Blight? Yeah, and that's just because we have this one here, minus mana cost of skills. So how this works is, if we're gonna put this one away, and I need to remove the clarity for a second. So now my Blight has mana cost of 16. Now I cannot do it. But since I'm using, you can either go it this way, that you have Watcher's Eye, which says total mana cost of skills will affect by clarity. That means as soon as I have clarity up, now my mana cost is 6. And now we just need a ring where you can craft on it, or you get that from the temple. It's the Xopex mod, maximum mana minus total mana cost of skills. So as soon as I have this one, I now have a total of 10, and 8 is 18 mana cost of skills. Since my Blight only has mana cost of 16, it's now for free. So basically I can just reserve every mana, and that also makes me able to run no regen maps. Because no regen maps is the problem. You can probably sustain your life with leech, whatever, but not mana. So you need to bring a mana flask, but not in this case. We don't even have mana at all, you know. And that's why it's safe to just reserve 100% of your mana with Haste and Grace and get the Despair for free. Works out pretty fine. So yeah, let's go quickly over the gear. Basically, the helm, the gloves, the belt, the boots, the ring that we have open here is life resistance, okay? You're gonna have a hard time to cap your resistance, so you're gonna take up the spots. Just look for life and resistance, basically. That works out quite fine for now. You see that I also have like a 6-link over here, or at least like in later stages a double 3-link, because I want to go dual wield. And the 4-link here, I don't even know what I should put in here, because I have a cast when image taking Immortal Call with the clarity on Blood Magic, because I reserve all mana. So I'm reserving a tiny little bit, like 66 life on Blood Magic for clarity to get that mana cost reduction. Then I have here my 6-link Blight. It's Vaal Blight with increased area of effect, control destruction, swift affliction, less duration, and void manipulation, as explained before. On the boots, I'm currently Blasphemy Despair with the Impresence, so it doesn't reserve any mana. With Haste and Grace. That's it for now. Because I'm a running build, I don't really need a movement skill. So one thing that I want to add is using Flame Dash could probably be a nice thing, or Lightning Warp. Because of the Nexus memory fragments, whatever. Because they decay, and sometimes you're gonna have a hard time. Let's say this is the decaying area. As a walking build, I cannot run through because I will just be sent back to the start. So if you have Flame Dash, Lightning Warp, or something like that, you can just Flame Dash over that memory decaying area and you'll be fine, you know. So adding one of those would be actually a good thing, what I need to step up. So in terms of that, anything else? Probably not. Flasks, alive flasks with bleed immunity, since we are not using the Master Surgeon, where we get bleed immunity while using a flask. No, we use the Nature's Reprisal because we have chaos damage and increased area of effect of chaos skills, which is super huge. If you compare that with increased area of effect, it's basically, yeah, it's basically another increased area of effect 2020 on that one, because this one gives 49, this one has 50, so actually pretty insane. But before we go over the skill tree, let's keep on going with that one. Then I have a Witchfire Brew because of the evasion and the damage over time. A Jade Flask, as explained before, for capping the Queen of the Forest. The Soul Catcher Flask, if you buy one, 40% reduced soul gain prevention. And also a Quicksilver Flask to move even faster. Okay, so weapon. Yeah, this is a fun thing. So you need Bloodstained Fossil to get that mod. So if we're gonna take a look at the PoE trait for a second, so you can follow me on the idea that's going on. So we have like Coast of Vaal skills. It can have two mods, right? 20% is a fixed mod for one-handed weapon and 40% for a two-handed weapon. So they go for a couple of exalts already. So why? Because you use a Bloodstained Fossil to craft that. It's going to be a guaranteed stat. So if you go for Bloodstained Fossil, they go for about 200, I think. So yeah, that's kind of expensive, right? So that explains the cost of these Vaal Coast skill tag. So, as I said, 40% is the thing you want to have. So either you get one staff that I used over here with 40%, or you get dual wielding with a double 20 roll. So, I want to make this a little bit better, since my damage, I feel like my damage is lacking a little bit. And that's because this Eclipse staff doesn't offer me anything besides the Vaal Coast, the cast speed, and 26% spell damage. No multiplier, the crit chance is completely useless, so I really want to get rid of that one. And I want to get some dual wielding stuff going on. I bought a base yesterday pretty cheap for 1 Exalt. This is an implicit, it's a synthesized mod with a non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier. This actually makes your damage quite insane. So as you see, if I start crafting that one, you see that the cast speed and the ailment modifier is an implicit. Like here, the 100% crit chance, so we can just craft and we'll have that one available. So my next plan is getting 2 of those and craft them with bloodstained fossils, at least one time. Because it's, you know, I have 1 Axon stash, like what should I afford, you know, I can't even get 1 bloodstained yet. But that's the plan, getting 2 of those bases, crafting both with the bloodstained, because it should be 100% stat here, granting from the bloodstained fossil. And then just hope that we have 1 prefix open to craft the multiplier. If we go over here, a non-ailment, this one. I don't even think this is the highest one. No, it's not. It's actually, I think they go for 17 to 20%, so I need to unveil that, I think, to get the highest one. But then that's what I want to have. Double those crafts plus the Vaal mod plus the implicit, so that will boost my damage quite insane, because it's like 50 on the main hand, 50 on the offhand. That's like 100% non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier. This is by far the best stat to scale chaos damage. Same on the tree, if we're gonna go for the tree real quick. Flask effect duration, life, flask effect. Jewel slot, here we have one of those chaos circles, clusters, whatever you call them, with increased chaos damage and non-ailment chaos damage over time multiplier. Here's some life, we have phase acrobatics, because we are stacking evasion, which is pretty good. More life. Here I skipped the increased skill effect duration. That's why we go to the bottom side here. Resourcefulness, then lethal assault, getting more area of effect, more life, whatever. Here is another damage over time cluster here. Here would be the next one. That's what I'm going to take once I level up. So I'm going this route here and then take entropy, which is another insane multiplier, chaos damage, cast speed, all that kind of stuff. And cast speed will actually make your animation slower, at least faster on the Vaal Blight, you know, so you can't even move faster with that one. So here, double jewel slot with the spreading rod, because we are casting Blight, so we inflict Wither, that's an increased chaos damage debuff on the enemy, and hinder duration and so on. So we're gonna use 2 of those, because we can have 2. Then important alchemist for increased flask effect duration. We're just trying to stack as much flask effect duration as possible. The rest is just area of effect, life, more damage over time, some more life and regen. Here we have more life, area of effect, cast speed, and yeah, all resistance, some kind of that stuff. Yeah, this is the current way. As I level up today, probably, I want to get into atrophy, and then probably gonna pick up the devotion or even more life nodes, because I'm 4.3k life, my gear is garbage, but hey, it works for now. I cleared up till tier 16 now, but not deathless in that case, because 4.4k life is, for any like tier 16 map or something like that, it's a little bit low, so I want to reach like 5 to 6k in total. And augmentation. I was hoping for exalts, but yeah, it does never happen, right? Wait a sec, we had that once. Anyways, okay, that's the skill tree. Path of Building link is in the description below. As I said, most important is the flask effect duration, and then we have the chaos over time multiplier, which nothing on that one, so we're just gonna sell this one probably for like, I don't know, like 3x, 4x, something like that. Hopefully it sells over the day so I can get my wands going, because this is going to be insane. Alright. What's the next thing? Bandits. Bandits, you can either take 2 skill points, what I did, or you can take a Lyra. A Lyra will give you a multiplier, but that's not necessary because we're not a crit build, but it will give us all resistance. And this build is all resistance starved, right? Or resistance starved. So if you want to get that way, you can do that. I like to go to 2 skill points, because I think it's a waste if you take a Lyra only for the resistance, right? I think with more investment, you can easily fix your resistance and, yeah, take those 2 skill points for even more damage, obviously, or more life or whatever. For the Pantheons, I currently have Lunaris for the movement speed, and actually, yeah, probably Shakari for immune to poison once I upgraded that one. But can also be anything you want, like chance to evade attacks if you take a savage hit or whatever. Like, Pantheons are not that mandatory in a speed clearing build. It's probably a thing if you do Uber Elder, because Yugel will give you less cold damage taking and stuff, but in the end, like, I think Lunaris and probably Shakari or something, Grudkul, Rislada, like, now Rislada is probably not the best thing to go, because you're gonna get flask stacks 24/7, you know, so that's pretty useless. But whatever. So, for the MTX, if you're wondering, I need to get my staff back, because my beautiful Celestial MTX is now finally complete, which is actually insane. Finally, they released some wings. So we have the Celestial Hood with the Holy Eyes, Celestial Wings, Celestial Body Armor, Celestial Gloves, Celestial Character Effect, Celestial Boots, Celestial Footprints, Celestial Staff, Celestial Weapon Effect, and the Demon King Portal Effect. So this is now the probably complete Celestial outfit, which I really, really love. Then we have Clarity, nothing at the moment, probably... yeah, not really mandatory. Dark Immortal Call, the Soul Nexus Aura Effect, it's a blue sprinkling thing here. The Celestial Aura Effect, and the Force Field, which gives me this beautiful bubble over here. I could actually take the Celestial Hooded Cloak, but I don't know, like, I think this is just bad designed, to be honest. I really like the wings. They go pretty well with the Celestial Character Effect, so it's a little bit more spooky and celestial and whatever, so that's actually pretty insane. Okay, so enough talking, I think. Path of Building is in the description below. I'm now gonna level up, trying to get some currency in. I have like shitloads of for sale. I wanna craft those wands. I wanna get more resistance on my stats so I can get more life out of it and everything. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty nice Nexus farmer as well, because you have a lot of monster density and also a lot of loot and no bosses in that case. So we're gonna see how that one works out. Check. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.